Spill the Blood by Slayer. As ever, I'll put the links for the tab in the description below. Also, this one's in E flat on the record, so I'll put my description for E flat tuning if you're not familiar in the links in the description below. This is quite a simple one. There's 4 bars of it that we're going to look at. It's the first 4 bars of the song, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. The picking pattern is the same throughout, and the fretting is really simple. We're only actually fretting 1 note at a time per bar. So to start with the first bar, I'll talk you through it. As I say, it's really simple. Look at 4th fret on my G string, and then my open, B and E strings. Before I start fretting anything, I'm going to talk about my hand position, because that's what's going to make this really work or not work for you. I'm starting off using my 2nd finger to fret this first note. So the 4th fret note on the G string, I'm starting off with my 2nd finger. That'll become quite obvious when we work through the rest of the riff. So I'm going to play that note, and then my B string, E string and B string again. So it's a 4-note pattern, repeated a couple of times. I played it through on the playthrough. The pattern I used for picking was the first 3 notes I picked down and the last note I picked up. It makes it easier to play it that way. If you're not comfortable with the up pick, you can do it with just down picks all the way through. Works just as well, sounds just as well. I just found it easy to do the up pick, particularly when we get to the 3rd and 4th bars in it. You'll see why, because we're doing a little string skip there. So you can use down picks if you want to, but these are practice exercises, that's why I'm giving them you. So I'll recommend, if you can, practice doing it the way I did it, with the up pick at the end, because it'll make the rest of the riff a little bit easier for you. So I'm going down, 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 up. When I've done that up on the last note, it gets my hand in a higher position, so I'm ready to attack the next 4 notes with my down pick. The first note in each sequence is the important note. That's always the important one that wants to sound nice with a good solid down pick. That's the reason why I chose to do that. Anyway, moving on. The 2nd bar, literally, is moving down from the 4th fret note. Remember, I started on my 2nd finger on that note. I'm moving down to the 3rd fret, and I'm going to use my 1st finger and play exactly the same thing through twice. So I've gone from the 4th fret to the 3rd fret. So those are the first 2 bars of the piece. Quite simple, same strings, same pattern. For bar 3, switching up slightly, we're going back to the 4th fret, but we're playing it on our D string instead of our G string. So that's when we start to have to skip the string. So bar 3 of the piece, we're starting on the 4th fret on our D string, which is actually an F sharp. And the open B and E strings are exactly the same as they were before. And I'm going to use the same picking pattern, even though I'm skipping a string. Same again. Sounds a bit weird isolated, a bit like a out of tune thing, but as I mentioned before on this series, that's quite a common thing with Slayer riffs, particularly these clean riffs. It gives it a bit of edge. So the first 3 bars all together from the start. 4th bar on the G string I'm starting, 4th fret on the G string I'm starting with, down to the 3rd fret on the G string, 4th fret on my D string, and for the final bar, the 4th and final bar, I'm using the notes on the D string again, so I'm doing more string skipping, and rather than doing 2 plays through on the same note, I'm changing the note up. So the first note's going to be 5th fret, and the last note is going to be 3rd fret. So the 4th bar is going to sound like this. So to put that together from the start, 4th fret of the G string, play that twice, 3rd fret on the G string, play that twice. 4th fret on your D string, play that twice. And then we play 5th fret on the D string, 3rd fret on the D string. So that last bar is just a little bit different insofar as we have to change the note for each 4-note pattern. Again, the picking stays the same and the idea stays the same, the timing wise stays the same. 4/4 timing, 8th notes that we're playing there, so 1 and 2, and as ever, start off slowly, make sure your notes are nice and clean, particularly if you're going to have a go at that little up pick if you're not quite familiar with doing that previously. Just make sure that you've got nice clean notes. One thing that might catch you out is accidentally, let's say for example I'm starting off with that pattern on the 4th fret on the G string. If I'm not fingering it right, I'm going to be accidentally hitting my other strings. So that's why we need a nice clean contact with the finger. Go as slow as you want. Make sure you get those clean notes so you're not catching those open strings, because otherwise it's just not going to sound nice. So slowly build up the speed until you get it up to the song speed. I think it's 120, 125 BPM or something like that. And remember, if you want to try and play along with Slayer, this is in E flat, so you're going to have to do the tuning thing, which I'll put a link to down below. If you're just practicing, use your metronome and just play it on your standard tuned guitar and it'll be absolutely fine. Enjoy.